This episode begins with three characters who seem to be fairly low level, fighting against a strong boss monster that is chasing them through a temple. I really love this opening section. The way the battle plan was clearly laid out and the characters communicated with each other, it felt like the perfect sweet spot between well-defined, video game-style battle mechanics and the way people might actually talk and strategize if they were using magical abilities to fight against supernatural monsters. Or I guess in this series they're called cursed abilities, right? Yeah, I'm learning. By the way, I'm watching every episode of Jujutsu Kaisen out of order, so if you're confused about why I don't understand what's happening, well, I'm even more confused than you are. But feel free to check out the previous episodes if you want to see something really fun. As far as I understand it, the plan is for this guy with the cursed throat to use his Words of Power type ability that can paralyze the enemy. Otherwise, they would risk getting hurt just trying to deal damage to him. They don't have a plan to win, but they want to find someone named Todo, and I guess Todo is supposed to defeat this monster in the end. Another good thing about this scene is that it featured Megumi, a character that I met in a previous episode I've watched, so it was both nice to see a familiar face and to finally learn his name. Unfortunately, pretty quickly, this guy's throat gives out, and that leads to the summoned bird getting injured, and then Kamo gets knocked down as well. Inumaki stands back up and tries to fight the enemy head-on. I knew they said his name during this episode, but I completely forgot what it was. Hey, give me a break. There were a lot of new characters and names to keep track of here, but I didn't want to keep calling him Throat Guy, so I went back and looked it up. Anyway, he blasts the enemy back into the rooftop over here, and then this really awesome lady, who I've never seen before, she hits the cursed spirit from behind. It seems like she's friends with Megumi, because she uses this weird, inky portal ability, and she gives him a sweet pair of nunchucks as a Christmas gift. Now, I might be crazy here, but this section felt really difficult to follow. Maybe the glasses lady was hiding off screen, waiting to jump into the fight, and maybe she summoned weapons for Megumi off screen, maybe in the previous episode, but it felt like something was missing in between Inumaki's shout and then when Megumi and the glasses lady started attacking the cursed spirit together. Anyway, we get an explanation of these cursed tools, which are like the weapons you use to fight monsters in this series, probably. They're ranked from grade 1 to grade 4, and although I don't think I was told whether 1 or 4 is the best, they mentioned that the sorcerers are also separated into grades as well. I'm starting to form a more clear picture of what is happening in this series. It seems like the low-grade sorcerers, like Megumi, spend a lot of time wandering around the battlefield, getting attacked by super powerful boss monsters and trying to stay alive. It's almost more like a war zone if you think about it. Meanwhile, their goal is to keep these cursed spirits distracted and even maybe subdue them. But later on, a powerful high-level sorcerer like Nanami or Itadori will show up, and then you can let the main character or someone else defeat the boss for you. So if I'm understanding everything correctly, this seems like the basic structure of most of the battles that I've seen so far. So I think I did a pretty good job with this one. Well, the plant dude gets hit so hard, he goes crashing away from the temple, and he lands in this river here in the middle of a forest, and somehow I feel like a plant would be really strong in this location, standing in the water with trees all around them. Megumi explains to the audience how his powers work, and hey, I'm a member of the audience, so something is actually being explained to me for once. I guess he has a bunch of Shikigami. These are the different kinds of summons that I've seen him use so far. Well, if one of them gets completely destroyed, it's gone for good. That seems like a pretty harsh weakness, but it turns out, when that happens, the power from the destroyed Shikigami gets recycled back into his other summons, and this causes all of his other summons to grow stronger. So it might actually be a good thing to have fewer but more powerful Shikigami. That's what I was thinking. So he summons a wolf, and it starts attacking the enemy weak point. This distracts the cursed spirit long enough for the glasses girl to get in close. Megumi smacks the enemy with his nunchucks, but then he admits he didn't actually like this Christmas present, and he wants to return it. So they trade weapons, and he ends up holding a sword. But I don't think Megumi knew what he was doing when he switched to a sword, because he immediately gets tagged with an enemy status effect. So now, whenever he tries to use his cursed abilities, the enemy plant is going to dig and grow further into his body. It will damage his internal organs, I'm thinking. The plant dude keeps trying to attack the glasses girl. Apparently she's actually pretty strong, but now she's fighting at a disadvantage because she's worried about what's happening to Megumi. She gets caught and her glasses fall off, which is a shame because I love glasses. But we won't focus too much on that. Megumi is getting ready to fight through the pain. He'll ignore any damage that he's going to take from that status effect, get back on his feet, and try to act like a main character. But the glasses girl tells him not to worry about it. because they managed to survive long enough already, and the main characters are about to show up and win the battle right now. And check it out. Here comes Itadori. Even Megumi is shocked, and honestly, so am I. I was right about Itadori being the main character. For some reason, he's not with Nanami this time. Instead, he's with this massive guy who looks like he could be a pro wrestler. The pro wrestler really likes saying friendo and braza in English, and it seems like he's Itadori's current teacher, or maybe his best friend, or it could be possible that he's all of these things. He might even be his actual brother. Now, here's the part of the episode that really threw me off. We're almost 10 minutes in, and the opening credits just started playing. This credit sequence features a lot of characters walking in slow motion, similar to the credits that I saw in Season 2, Episode 16. But it's really interesting that all of the openings and endings I've seen so far have been different. I wonder how long it will take before I get to an episode where I don't need to mention a new opening or a new ending. When we come back from the credits, this blonde girl is carrying some injured people away from the battlefield. Okay, now I'm starting to get confused again. Not only do I not recognize her at all, but the person she's carrying is someone with gray hair, so it seems like she wasn't there to rescue Megumi, or the glasses lady. This is just like a totally unrelated 10-second long scene that has nothing to do with the current battle, I think. Megumi is worried that Itadori will get hurt if he tries fighting, but the muscular dude calls the panda to get the injured people out of here, and he just tells Megumi not to worry about it. Itadori is overflowing with confidence, and it seems he must have gotten a power boost in a recent episode or something, because Itadori is way stronger than Megumi thinks he is. Plus, now, he's best friends with a pro wrestler. But the pro wrestler says he's just going to sit there and watch. He wants Itadori to show off this black wave, or, black flash, and he's like, if you can't do it, I'm not going to save you. I'll just let you die. Now, this doesn't seem like best friend behavior, but I guess this pro wrestler is Itadori's teacher after all. So this really strong enemy that the lower grade sorcerers were struggling against is basically just fodder for Itadori to train and get some EXP. Before they start fighting, Itadori asks the cursed spirit if he knows Mahito, and the cursed spirit doesn't seem to answer him, but I actually know the answer to this already. He's one of the guys from 216 that was friends with Mahito, and considering what Mahito did to Junpei, I can tell Itadori is gonna be pretty mad. It looked like Itadori used a shockwave to disorient the enemy, and then getting close safely, which is a technique I've actually seen him do before. So I think this might be one of his signature attacks. Also, what I thought was really cool, Itadori intentionally holds back with his first punches, and this caused the enemy to underestimate him and lower his guard. And then Itadori goes for the black flash, but he starts thinking about Junpei, Megumi, and he gets super angry, and he's not able to control it. The pro wrestler dude slaps him in the face and tells him to stop getting so angry. Now, personally speaking, if a teacher slapped me in the face, I'd get pretty angry. But this seems to work. Itadori thanks the pro wrestler for slapping him. He calms down, and then he's able to use the black flash. For some reason, during this scene, Itadori is concentrating so hard that he drools all over himself. But I didn't know what to make of this, and I wasn't sure if I would even leave this in the script, but it was so weird and confusing, and it goes on for so long, I felt like I had to mention it, because honestly, it made me laugh quite a bit. But anyway, the black flash evaporates all of the water in the river, and deals heavy damage. This makes Itadori's teacher smile. He talks a bunch about the black flash, but I wasn't able to internalize a lot of this information. Hopefully there will be a good explanation in a later, earlier episode. Whichever it is, whenever I get to it, we'll see it. Either way, the cursed spirit is actually worried about these two now, because he can tell that the black flash is something that is a serious threat to him. The teacher explains that the cursed spirits don't need to use advanced techniques in order to heal, like how they might need to go visit the school nurse, for example, I'm guessing. But even though the cursed spirit is regenerating naturally and quickly, this only allows him to keep fighting as long as he has strength. And they did drain his overall health with the damage they've dealt so far. I'm like 80% sure I understood this. And I think it means basically the enemy has like a health bar, and he can fight at full strength until he hits 0 hit points. But like with a human, if you break their arm, they won't be able to use it for the rest of the fight. Itadori and his best friend make an awesome JoJo reference, and you can tell things are about to get crazy. The animation really ramps up as they begin fighting the plant guy. and I love the direction and the concept behind this fight. It's actually pretty rare, at least in the series that I've seen, where you have two protagonists teaming up against one strong enemy. I understand. It can be difficult, especially when animating and directing action scenes, to keep track of multiple characters at once. This is why normally Vegeta, Krillin, and Piccolo just get knocked out like chumps, and Goku does everything himself. But in this battle, it felt like Itadori and his teacher were both weaker than the enemy, and they needed to fight together in a 2 against 1 to be able to win. And this was really an extension of the concept they showcased in the battle at the start of the episode, where it was 3 against 1. They managed to land a sick double punch against the Cursed Spirit, and then they're getting ready to go for the finishing strike. But the Cursed Spirit causes the ground under them to disappear, and this resulted in them falling straight down. Even worse, he uses the disadvantage to attack them while they're in mid-air, but they use teamwork to effectively dodge this attack. Itadori lands in a bush somewhere, but the other guy, I think he actually landed safely, and then he just started hanging upside down on this branch to look cool. We cut to this scene of the Cursed Spirit, and he's hanging out together with Mahito on the beach. Well, Mahito is thinking about the time that he got beat up by Nanami and Itadori, which sadly, I haven't been able to see that yet. But apparently, he thought it was a really fun time, and he wants to do it again. Mahito seems to think that fighting is one of their main instincts, the same way that humans have instincts to eat, drink, and reproduce. So even if they become self-aware, at the end of the day, they're just cursed spirits. So they're going to keep fighting, and they're going to love fighting more than anything else. Also, there is one thing. If these guys hang out at the beach so much, how come none of them have a tan? Actually, they're both extremely pale. When Itadori gets back up, he charges directly at the Cursed Spirit and starts using his signature strategy. Yeah, he's gonna punch him, and then he punches him some more. Well, I guess his logic is that the tree guy used a lot of his energy already, and he won't be able to keep regenerating if they keep attacking. The pro wrestler seems to agree, and he goes in for a sneak attack, but the plant guy responds by waving his hands, and he causes a bunch of flowers to appear out of nowhere. This attack was really strange because the flowers looked so out of place. They almost looked like they were from a different anime or something, and this reality-distorting attack didn't really seem to do much, other than leaving Itadori and his best friend really confused. And then, you almost wouldn't believe this, but I have watched 3 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen, and this is the 3rd time that the villain just started T-posing in the middle of the battle. Yeah, the plant guy is like, you know what? Mahito was right. I'm actually loving this. It's a lot of fun. This seems to make Itadori's best friend excited too, because he's smiling, he's thinking about how he wants to use his own special ability. Everyone's getting hyped for the fight. Everyone's getting ready. But don't worry, I could tell that this episode was going to end right here. So I didn't even get upset this time, I just accepted it. The ending credits for this episode were more soft, sort of like a ballad and less like a dance class. It was really cool how the credit sequence told a complete story with a beginning, middle, and ending, unlike the episodes I've been watching out of order. Well, at the start, Itadori is recording some YouTube shorts, and his friends are in all of the videos, but then they call him over to join in on the fun. And in the end sequence, it shows the same scenes again, with Itadori, laughing and enjoying his life with his friends. It was really sweet. This was another solid episode, and I want to reiterate, I really enjoyed the direction and the concept of the battles and how the fights were handled. It strongly reminded me of a strategy game, an MMO, or even like a team-based shooter, where each player character has their own role in battle and they're working towards some goal. Especially the first fight, where you had one guy who was using disabling attacks, you had a summoner, and then, well, I don't know what this guy was doing. I think he squirts his blood as an attack. But anyway, it makes me really excited to see if there are more battles in the series that make use of the large cast, and especially the fact that all of the main characters have different levels of power and different abilities, but they can all contribute in their own way strategically. If you want to see more of this series, out of order, let me know. But for now, enjoy the rest of your day.